How to spot a good real estate investment. Welcome back. In this episode, I'll answer your question, how to spot a good real estate investment. Now, my name is Ted Thomas, and since 1970, I've been involved in real estate. However, the last 30 years, I specialized in tax lien certificates and tax defaulted property. Some people say tax deeds and tax liens. So I made that a specialty because it's a nice, even market. It's very stable. It doesn't go up and down like a lot of the real estate markets. One of the things you want to do is you want to try to firmly put this in your mind. You make your money when you buy, not when you sell. So if you can use that as your guideline, that you make your money when you buy and not when you sell, you're going to be able to make a lot of money in this business because that actually works. So imagine getting properties at much lower prices than everyone else. Now, by that, I'm talking about buying at auctions for 60%, 70, 80, 90% below the actual tax assessed value. So stay with me. I'm going to talk about that over the next few minutes. Before I finish this video, I do want to tell you about two mistakes that are made at tax auctions, and I want to show you how to avoid them. I'll be right back. So let's start with an example so we can get right into this. A student of mine found dozens, I say dozens, of properties at auction that were selling starting bid 60, 70, and 80% below the tax assessed value. Now just imagine if you could find this little pot of gold of properties. Well, it's happening all across the United States at tax defaulted auction. So imagine how your life and your business would be impacted if you could buy those kind of properties and then be able to resell them into the marketplace. Well, let me show you how to do that. Now, this isn't something that just happened. This has been around for 200 years. So the government has actually created many real estate opportunities by creating tax defaulted auctions. And we're going to talk about that over the next few minutes. Now, the treasurer has a lot of power at the county. So what does the treasurer do? Well, first of all, they can levy taxes, they can collect taxes, and if they can't collect the tax, they basically confiscate the property and resell it. Now, when they resell the property, it's going to be hard for you to believe, when they resell the property, they wipe out the mortgage. That's right. The mortgage is deleted from the property. It's gone. There is no mortgage. It's been taken off the property file. So now you're buying 60, 70, 80% discount with no mortgage. So now you're starting to see how good a tax defaulted auction could really be. So most of the encumbrances are washed off the property by the county treasurer. Now, is that going to be different in every county, in every instance? Yes, but we'll show you how to check on that. So you can purchase these properties at numerous auctions. As I say, there's 3,000 counties in the United States. They're all authorized to have a tax defaulted auction. So how do we make money at these auctions? Well, I had a case where my student was looking at the property and he could see that the properties were selling at very low prices. For example, starting bids of $1,500 for a $50,000 property. $1,500, pretty low price. Well, he went to the auction, didn't get it for $1,500 because there was other bidders. So the other bidders bid it at $100 each. They went up to $1,600, $1,700. Finally, the bidding stopped at $4,900. Well, $4,900 is really a bargain for a $50,000 property. So he bid $5,000. And the auctioneer said, going once, going twice, going three times, number 1047 in the second row, you bought a property. And he did. He bought the property for $5,000 and it was worth $50,000. You'd like to do that every day. So he won that. He won the property. So on the way out to review it to see what he had purchased, he knew where the property was because he looked at it previously. And sure enough, he stopped at the Home Depot and got a sign. Put the sign in the lawn. How about that? Put the sign in the lawn. Next thing you know, neighbor came across the street and said, "Wow, congratulations, I see you bought at the auction." And the guy looked at him, and then the neighbor said, "I watched the auction on the internet." And the guy said, "Oh, you did?" So the neighbor now said, "Well, you got a great deal. This property's worth a lot more than $5,000. Well, his sign created quite a stir because lots of people could see his sign because he wrote on it, "Installment sale." Now, America loves installments. What does that mean? That's how you bought your car. That's how most people buy a house. That's how people buy TVs. They use installments. Now houses are sold with installments. We call that in real estate a contract for sale, an installment contract for sale. Well, so he put ads first in the newspaper, secondly, he had his signs, then he used Craigslist, he used Facebook Marketplace, he used eBay. Next thing you know, there was willing buyers wanting to buy with an installment sale. So one buyer offered $350 a month and was willing to pay the insurance and the taxes. So he accepted the deal. He said, pay me $350 a month. The buyer paid $350 a month and planned to sign a 10-year contract. Well, let's not make it complicated. $350 a month is $4,200 a year. So he was now, on his small $5,000 investment, going to make $4,200. $5,000 when he purchased, now he's going to get $4,000 in income right away his first year. Well, if he gets that for 10 years, he's going to get $42,000 out of a $5,000 investment. Now, how many times in your life would you like to invest $5,000 and end up with $42,000? You'd like to do that a lot. All right, this is a strategy for buying real estate and quickly selling it. We have a system. The system is simple. We buy it low and we sell it low. And what do we do when we sell it? We try to do installment sale so we can get payments. So we do the work once and we get paid for 10 years. Defaulted property auctions will allow you to do the same thing. You're buying at 20 and 30 cents on the dollar, but you're selling at whatever price you want and accepting sales. Now think about what happened with this gentleman. He received $4,000 income the first year. That's an 80% return on his $5,000 investment. You need to learn how to do the same thing, and that's what we teach people how to do it. My name is Ted Thomas. I'm going to do 2 questions, and then that'll be all for today. Can we share an example of how we use credit cards? Not all states will allow you to use credit cards. However, in this case, the man did buy with a credit card. He didn't have enough money, so he used a credit card to purchase the property. So I currently know that New York uses credit cards. You can use it, and you can buy all the way up to $200,000 and $300,000 properties, because I've done it. And Michigan, on a regular basis, uses credit cards, and you can buy properties with the credit card. Now, keep in mind, you didn't spend $50,000 for this last property. He spent $5,000. So there's tons of people that not only can give you money with their credit card, but you can buy properties by knowing how to use the credit card and how to buy at property auctions. Why would someone buy a tax lien certificate? Well, I didn't cover that on this particular video, but I have videos that you can learn about tax lien certificates, and they pay 16, 18, 24 up to 36%. But a tax lien certificate, you do not get the property, you get a certificate that gives you earnings of 18%. Now we're talking about buying property that you're going to get checks for the property. So this is a significant business, and it's an investment business. Let's talk about those 2 mistakes. Mistake number 1, don't buy a property unless you've looked at it. Why? What if there was a hurricane yesterday? What if there was a fire last night? Anything could happen to a property if you haven't looked at it. Could have been a flood, could have been a windstorm. Lots of things could go wrong. Now, if you haven't looked at the property, it might be next to a chicken farm. I don't think you want to buy one next to a chicken farm. How are you going to resell it? So don't look at, it's a big mistake. If you don't look at the property, you're going to get yourself in trouble. I see it happening all the time. People buy properties they can't resell. Second big mistake that happens is many investors are really excited about the auction. They want to make money. They want to get into it. And they start buying properties that they haven't planned their exit strategy. Now, an exit strategy simply says to you and your investors, look, if we're going to do this, what are we going to sell it for? So you don't want to buy something that you don't know what you can sell it for, because you'll just keep bidding to win the auction. You don't want to win the auction. You want to buy it at a price where you can resell it. If you haven't thought about the reselling and the exit, you could get yourself in trouble. Now, I want you to stay tuned, because right below me, I have a gift for you. It's called the Safe Haven. This is a nice little course that'll teach you about tax lien certificates and tax defaulted property. So you want to take advantage of that. Just go below me and register.